Welcome to the Pencil Bob channel. I hope you enjoy my stories. Please like and subscribe, and hit that notification icon so you never miss out. Now on with the stories.
The day started like any other at the dealership. We had the usual stream of customers coming through, some friendly, some less so. The morning air was crisp, and the smell of fresh coffee wafted from the waiting area. I was at my desk, buried in a stack of paperwork, work orders, invoices, and service schedules that never seemed to end. The rhythmic hum of power tools from the garage provided a familiar backdrop to the bustling atmosphere of the service center. I was just about to take a sip of my lukewarm coffee when a car pulled into the drive. It was impossible to miss, a copper-colored Ford Fiesta with a kind of metallic sheen that made it stand out like a sore thumb among the sea of silver, black, and white vehicles that usually filled our lot. The sun caught its surface, creating an almost blinding glare. Before I even looked up from my papers, I heard my coworker Jake mutter under his breath, "Oh no, her." His tone was a mix of dread and resignation, immediately putting me on edge. I glanced at him, raising an eyebrow, and he just shook his head, a silent warning passing between us. I glanced over at Jake, confusion etched on my face. His usual easygoing demeanor had vanished, replaced by a tense, almost nervous energy. "What's the deal?" I asked, my eyes darting between him and the flashy Fiesta now parked in our service lane. Jake's face twisted into a grimace, his eyes never leaving the car as if it might suddenly sprout teeth and bite him. "She's your problem now," he said, his voice low and serious. "Made her mad last time, and I don't feel like round two." He turned away, busying himself with some papers on his desk, clearly wanting nothing to do with the situation. Well, that sounded promising. A difficult customer was never fun, but it was part of the job. I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and decided I could handle whatever was coming. So, plastering on my best customer service smile, I headed out to greet our copper car driving visitor. The clipboard felt heavy in my hand as I approached, my mind racing with possibilities of what I might be walking into. The woman in the Fiesta, who I'll call Tire Lady, had already gotten out of her car by the time I reached her. Before I could even get a word in, she launched into a tirade. "You people didn't tell me my tires were bad last time I was here. And now I've failed my state inspection because of it. How do you expect me to trust you when you don't do your job?" It was the kind of rapid-fire complaint where you can barely catch your breath, let alone respond. I leaned down to look at her tires and immediately saw the problem. Her tires weren't just worn, they were falling apart. The sidewalls had cracks so deep they looked like miniature canyons, and the tread was peeling away in chunks. I straightened up and said, "Ma'am, I see what you mean. These tires are in very poor condition." She cut me off. Quote question mark. "No kidding. And you told me they were fine." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "I wasn't the one who inspected your car last time, but I can tell you that these tires look original to the car. It's a 2016, right? That means these tires are 8 years old." She crossed her arms. "So what? I barely drive this car. Tires should last for thousands of miles." I explained, as gently as I could, that while mileage does matter, age is just as important. I pointed out the date code on the sidewall, showing her the tires were manufactured in 2016. "Even the best tires only last about 6 to 8 years under ideal conditions," I said. "And if the car sits for long periods, it can actually cause the rubber to dry out faster." Her face turned red. "So now it's because I don't drive enough? Is that what you're saying?" "No, ma'am, I'm just explaining why this happens," I said, still trying to keep my tone neutral. "But you do need to replace these tires. They're not safe to drive on." Her eyes narrowed. "Fine. How much is that going to cost me?" "Let me get you a quote," I said, already bracing myself for her reaction. The moment I mentioned the cost, she exploded. "Why should I have to pay for new tires? I bought this car here in 2017, and these are the tires you gave me. If they were garbage tires, that's your responsibility." I explained that the dealership doesn't manufacture tires, and the ones on her car were likely the ones that came with it from the factory. "I understand you're frustrated," I said, "but I can't authorize free tires. What I can do is see if we have any promotions or discounts available." She wasn't having it. "If you can't authorize it, then get someone who can." Unfortunately, our managers were all in a meeting at the time. I told her this, but said I'd try to get a hold of someone. I stepped away to text management and filled my coworker in on the situation. He just shook his head. "Good luck with that. She did this last time, too. I told her tires were bad, and she refused to believe me. Ended up giving her a discount on her oil change just to calm her down. 10 minutes later, I went back to her. I'm sorry, ma'am, but the managers are still in their meeting. It might be a little while. That was apparently the wrong thing to say. Are you kidding me? This is horrible customer service. You're telling me I'm just supposed to wait here while they sit in their little meeting? I apologized again, but it didn't seem to matter. She huffed and said, fine. Then get started on the tires while we wait. Ma'am, I can't start work on the car without approval. What I can do is work on a discount or coupon. She cut me off again, yelling, I don't want a discount. I want you to take responsibility. You think I'm stupid? You think I don't know how this works? You're just trying to squeeze money out of me. At this point, she was practically shouting, and I could feel the stares of other customers and coworkers. I tried one last time to explain that the tires were simply old and needed replacing, but she wasn't interested in listening. You know what? She snapped. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You've got a bad attitude, and you clearly don't know what you're doing. Go get someone else. Okay, I said, relieved to step away. You're welcome to wait for management. I went back inside, leaving her pacing angrily by her car. Her arms were crossed so tightly it looked like she was trying to crush herself into submission. I took a deep breath, glad for the temporary reprieve, and busied myself with other tasks. Every few minutes, I glanced out the window to see her still standing there, occasionally checking her watch or shaking her head like she was rehearsing a new argument in her head. 30 minutes later, the managers finally came out of their meeting. Both of them, Tom, the general manager, and Lisa, the service manager, looked like they'd just gotten out of a battle themselves. What's the issue? Lisa asked as she headed straight for the coffee pot. It's the woman in the Ford Fiesta, I said, keeping my voice low. She's furious because her tires failed inspection. They're dry rotted and unsafe, and I told her she needs to replace them. She wants us to give her free tires because she bought the car here in 2017. Tom raised an eyebrow. Free tires? For a 7-year-old car? That's not happening. That's what I told her, I said, but she insists it's our responsibility. I've tried to explain, but she's not listening to me anymore. Said I have a bad attitude and wants to talk to someone who can take responsibility. Lisa groaned and took a sip of her coffee. She's one of those, Tom sighed. All right, let's go deal with her. I followed them out to the service drive, hanging back just enough to stay out of the line of fire. Tire lady spotted them immediately and stormed over, her face flushed. Finally, someone who can actually do something, she snapped, her voice sharp enough to cut through steel. Tom stepped forward, all business. Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Tom, the general manager. I understand there's an issue with your tires, she repeated, her voice climbing an octave. You bet there's an issue. Your service department didn't tell me my tires were bad, and now I've failed my state inspection. And don't even try to tell me it's not your problem. I bought this car here, and these are the tires you sold me. Lisa stepped in, her tone calm and professional. Ma'am, I understand your frustration, but the tires on your car are the original factory tires. They were on the car when it was first sold in 2016. Tires have a limited lifespan, and these are well past their safe usage window. Tire lady wasn't having it. I barely drive this car. These tires should have lasted longer. It's not my fault they're falling apart. You should have warned me last time I was here. Ma'am, Tom said, keeping his voice even, I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but we can't be responsible for tires that are nearly 8 years old. Our service records show that the condition of your tires was mentioned during your last visit. Mentioned? She scoffed. If it was, it wasn't mentioned enough. You're the experts. You should have told me they were this bad. Now I'm stuck failing inspection because you sold me defective tires. Lisa exchanged a glance with Tom, her patience clearly wearing thin. Ma'am, I understand this is upsetting, but there's nothing defective about the tires. They're simply old, and that's normal wear and tear. What I could do is work with you on a discount or find some more affordable options. No. Tire lady interrupted, practically shouting. I'm not paying a dime for this. This is your responsibility. You think you could just rip people off like this and get away with it? Tom's tone hardened. Ma'am, we're not ripping anyone off. We've offered you solutions, and if those aren't acceptable, there's nothing more we can do. Oh, there's plenty more you can do, she said, jabbing her finger at him. You can give me the tires I deserve, and don't think I won't be telling everyone I know about how awful this place is. I'll make sure your reputation is ruined. Tom didn't flinch. I'm sorry you feel that way. If you'd like to look into our discounted options, we'd be happy to help. Otherwise, I'm afraid there's nothing else we can do. Tire lady stared at him, her mouth opening and closing like she couldn't believe he wasn't backing down. Finally, she threw her hands up in exasperation. You people are unbelievable. Fine. I'll take my business elsewhere. But don't think this is over. She stomped back to her car, muttering something under her breath that I couldn't quite catch but was pretty sure wasn't a compliment. She slammed the door shut, revved the engine like she was trying to peel out, and then drove off at a snail's pace because of the traffic. Tom and Lisa turned back to me, both of them shaking their heads. Well, that was fun, Tom said dryly. She'll be back, Lisa muttered. Think so? I asked, still watching the Fiesta inch its way out of the lot. Oh yeah, Lisa said with a sigh. People like that always come back. She'll find out no one else is going to give her free tires either, and then we'll be the bad guys all over again. Great, I said, already dreading the inevitable round 2.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.